Proverbs chapter 18, verse 16. Proverbs 18, verse 16. Here's what it says. A gift opens the way and ushers the giver. Everyone say the giver. The giver. A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. To share a very interesting idea here with you, you need to understand, for you to really understand what's going on here and what the Bible is really telling us, you need to understand that we sort of came up with the interpretation of talents when we read gift, right? But I tell you to highlight the giver because that doesn't necessarily speak of talents. Yes, you can use your talents to give. You can, if you have a beautiful voice, you can use it to sing and bless people. If you are capable of communicating, you can use your words to bless people, uplift people, teach, transform minds. If you doesn't matter what you do, I don't know what else people do, but whatever it is that you are gifted at, you can use it. But the focus here is the giver. Day one of our 30 Days of Favor speaks about the power of a gift. The power of a gift. I want you to put that in the comment section. The power of a gift. The idea of the power of a gift is to say that if you and I are going to walk in favor, if we are going to live lives of favor, we ought to take the Bible literally when it speaks to us about this idea of giving as a means of opening doors, as a means of ushering us into the presence of the great. Doors will not open simply because you are talented. Everybody has a talent. Doors don't open for everybody though. Doors won't open just because you're a good singer. They won't open just because you are good at whatever. That's not how it works. How are you using it? Are you using it to bless? Are you using it to bless people? Very important question. I want you to, if you have a copy of Unlocking Favour with God and People, of course. If you don't have a copy, just listen on. If you don't have a copy of this book, just listen on. From the beginning of day one. From the beginning of day one, here's what it says. It says, when we hear the word gift, our minds often jump to talents or skills, assuming this verse implies that our natural abilities automatically grant us access to influential circles. However, Proverbs 18 verse 16 teaches a deeper and more actionable truth. The gift you give can open doors, soften hearts, and create opportunities. This is not about manipulation or bribery, but about the power of generosity to make a meaningful impact. Generosity is a universal language. A thoughtfully given gift, whether small or large, speaks volumes about your character and intentions. It shows honor, expresses gratitude, and fosters goodwill. Throughout Scripture, we see this principle at work, demonstrating how giving can influence others and create divine connections. Now, we'll get into the example in the book, which is going to be in Genesis 18. Genesis 18, verse 1 to verse 14. You can look at go to Genesis 18, verse 1 to verse 14 in the meantime. But if you go throughout the Bible, when Jesus was born, there were, so to speak, delegates. There were these magi that came to meet him. They came to greet him, but they did not come to greet him empty-handed. right? They came to greet him with precious gifts, with frankincense, with myrrh, with gold. They came to meet the king. And they understood that to get into the presence of the king, because they had received the prophecy that a king was born, and when they came to meet the king, they would not come empty-handed. My friend, I want you to understand that there is a certain level that takers never surpass. Takers will not surpass a certain level. They have a ceiling on their lives that they cannot get past, because their lives revolve around give me, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. And nobody wants to be around them. Nobody wants to call them for anything. Nobody wants to have them around, simply because when they are around, they add nothing. They add nothing. So when we talk about the idea of favor, you have to understand this. Understand this from the perspective of King Solomon. When the Queen of Sheba came to meet him, and the Queen of Sheba knew that this King Solomon is said to be the wisest man that ever lived. And the Queen of Sheba shows up with caravans of gifts. For a man who was already wealthy, but shows up with gifts. She didn't just come to take from Solomon, but she came to give. How are you adding to the lives of people? My friend, listen to me. Everybody is attracted to a generous person. Doesn't matter where you go, everybody is attracted to a generous person. I remember when I was younger, there was a man who taught me this. He said to me that at the time I didn't know anything about dating, because like as a man of God, I'm consecrated, but he would talk to me about dating, and he said to me, listen, the day you find a woman, here's what I want you to know: you never show up to a woman's house empty-handed. He said he said to me, a man knocks at a woman's house with his foot. He said, you always knock with your foot because your hands are too full, right? He said to me, you do that and you will never be alone in your life. But the idea is simple. The idea on this is very simple. It is simply, people are attracted to generous people. People are attracted to generous people. Even when it is time to give, you don't think about the takers to give to. You think about the givers. You think about them. Can I tell this to you in a very simple way? Right now in my life, there are certain people who I'm always looking forward to them calling me and telling me they need something. I always look forward to them calling and saying, listen, I need you to do something for me. I look forward to it. I'm excited to do it. Why? Because these people have been so generous to me that it doesn't matter if they call me now, I'm getting up and going. And by the way, it's not because I feel like I owe them. I want you to understand, my friend, a generous person will always have true friends. A generous person will always have a true friend. No, but when you are generous, people just take. Listen, relax. A generous person will always have a true friend. Doesn't matter if it is one true friend out of 5 or 10, it doesn't matter. But there will always be somebody who will come to your rescue, as long as you are a generous person. Now, of course, when we talk about this, there are some misconceptions, and we'll get into those in just a moment. But I want us to go on reading this. We'll go on reading from the book in just a moment. But I want us to get into Genesis chapter 18. Genesis 18, verse 1 to verse 14. Verse 1 to verse 14 of Genesis chapter 18. Here's what it says. It says, the Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre, while he was sitting at the entrance to his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried to the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, "If I have found favor," everyone say favor. If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant." Listen, Abraham says, don't pass me by. Simpate. Sorry, I don't know why, when I think about that song, I just go like this. Anyway, but he says, don't pass me by. Don't be quick to pass me by. Give me the honor of serving you. Give me the honor of giving to you. May I have the honor of pouring into you. I will bring some water for you to wash your feet and relax, and then I'll make something for you to eat and for you to be refreshed, if I have found favor with you. Very well, they answered. Do as you say. So Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarah. Quick, he said, get 3 sayers of the finest flour and knead it and bake some bread. Then he ran to the herd and selected a choice tender calf. Let me say it again. A choice tender calf. Not just anything, but what was choice. And gave it to a servant who hurried and prepared it. He then brought some curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared, and set these before them. While they ate, he stood near them under a tree. "Where is your wife Sarah?" they asked. "There in the tent," he said. Then one of them said, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah your wife will have a son." Now Sarah was listening at the entrance to the tent, which was behind him. Abraham and Sarah were already very old, and Sarah was past the age of childbearing. So Sarah laughed to herself as she thought, "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure?" She's not calling God old. My Lord is her husband. She's calling her husband my Lord. By the way, if you go read Peter says you should do like her. If you are truly Sarah's daughters, he said you should do like her. Anyway. Then the Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Will I really have a child now that I am old?' Is anything too hard for the Lord? Is anything too hard for the Lord? I will return to you at the appointed time next year, and Sarah will have a son." Can I tell you, this is beautiful, and we love this. We know this. We know the part where he says, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" But this entire interaction was unlocked through giving. It was through generosity. When Abraham saw that the divine had visited him, God had visited him. This was not an ordinary encounter. And his response, his immediate response was, "Let me do something for you. Let me do something for you." A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. Let me continue to read this for you. This is page 10. This is page 10 in the book. Page 10 in the book for those of you who have the book. If you don't have it, just listen. I don't want to make it seem like this is favoritism. It's not. You should all have one, by the way. Genesis 18, verse 1 to verse 14. Abraham's gift of hospitality. Genesis 18, verse 1 to verse 14 provides a powerful example of this principle in action. Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent when he saw 3 men standing nearby. Recognizing that they were not ordinary visitors, he hurried to offer them food and refreshment. In verse 3 to 5, Abraham says, If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat, so you can be refreshed and go on your way. Now that you have come to your servant. What Abraham offered was simple: water, bread, and rest. Yet this act of hospitality carried a profound significance. Unbeknownst to him, these men were divine visitors, and his generosity became the doorway to an extraordinary blessing, the promise of a son within a year, despite Sarah's old age. Just a personal story. A few years ago, I was sitting in a restaurant with a friend, enjoying a casual meal. As I glanced across the room, I noticed a famous gospel artist, a legend in the gospel music industry, seated at a nearby table. To my surprise, one of the men accompanying him walked over to greet me. He explained that he had seen my work online and wanted to express his appreciation for it. In that moment, I gathered the courage to ask him if the man at his table was indeed the artist I thought he was. He confirmed it and offered to introduce me. Nervously but excitedly, I greeted the artist, and we had a brief but pleasant conversation. To my astonishment, he gave me his contact number. As soon as I left the restaurant, my mind raced with possibilities. I thought about how I could leverage this connection for my work. However, I decided to call an old friend and mentor for advice. He cautioned me against immediately asking the musician for any favors. Instead, he suggested I reach out and express my admiration for his work. He encouraged me to offer my service, to let him know that if there was any way I could support or contribute to his ministry, it would be an honor. I followed this advice, and it turned out to be the best decision I could have made. High-profile individuals often encounter people asking them for something. Listen to this. Listen. High-profile individuals, the ones that you think are going to be your destiny helpers, they often encounter people asking them for something. But when you approach with a heart to give, to serve, you stand out. That experience taught me a valuable lesson. Influential people are not accustomed to others seeking to add value to their lives. When you become a giver, you do not only gain their attention, but also their favor. And this seems like such a simple thing to understand, right? It seems like such a simple thing to understand because for many of us, what it is we look at somebody who is in a position of power and we want to get their number because we think about all that we can get from them. But if you really want to be in the good graces of somebody who is high profile, somebody who is wealthy, somebody who is influential, I want you to understand all day long somebody is asking them for something. The moment you show up and you show up to serve, to give, you caught their attention. You caught their heart. And that, my friend, that could be the seed that opens a door for you. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even next year, but 5 years from now. 5 years from now, you find out that the seed you planted in 2025, all of a sudden, gives you a massive harvest. The point I'm making to you is, don't be a taker. Commit yourself to being a giver. This is how you get into the presence of great people. You know what I learned? I learned this when I get around these great men and women, these great people, the people of affluence and influence. You know what's fascinating about them? For some reason, I could be with Trumpis, who is the owner of such and such, and I know he's well off. And we could be going to his friend, who is also the owner of that other thing, very well off. And he says, we're going over there, for a braai. But we're just gonna have a braai. It's nothing too crazy, just to relax. It's just a couple of us. Okay, great. Now that I know that other guy that we're visiting, I'm sure he doesn't need us to bring anything. He doesn't need us to bring anything. And guess what? When we get there, you will find out he didn't need us to bring anything. But every one of his friends, the people in his circle, bring something. They always bring something. Listen, these are people whom I have never seen show up empty-handed wherever they go. They bring something every time. You hear what I'm saying? And these are the characters, these are the kinds of people who will be brought into spaces of influence, these are the kind of people that when you need someone, when you need something, when you have an opportunity, these are the people that you call. They are not here to take. You know, they are givers. My friend, generous people are attractive. Let's keep on reading over here. Oh, where was I? Okay. Practical application. We're in page 12. We're in page 12. The principle of giving is just as relevant today. A gift does not have to be extravagant to be meaningful. A small but thoughtful token, a kind word, a helpful gesture can soften hearts and build bridges. Let me say that again. If you want to underline your books, you can do that. But a small but thoughtful token, a kind word, or a helpful gesture can soften hearts and build bridges. Here are some practical ways to apply this principle. Number one, give tangibly. Right? Give tangibly. Consider bringing a small gift when visiting someone. It could be a homemade treat, a book they'll enjoy, or a handwritten note of encouragement. These acts of kindness demonstrate thoughtfulness and value. Just make a habit of it. Make a habit of being a kind of person who shows up with something. You bring something. Right? Bring something. Just something. Number two, use your talents. Bless others by using your abilities. If you're good at baking, surprise someone with fresh bread. By the way, Miss Yolanda once, when I met Miss Yolanda, I've only met her once, and when I met her, she came with gifts. She came with gifts. It was scones, it was biscuits, it was cupcakes. Everything was a 10 out of 10, man. If you're skilled at writing, pen a heartfelt letter. Gifts don't always have to be material. Sometimes the gift of your time or expertise is more impactful. Number three, be hospitable. Right? You can also be hospitable. Open your home or share a meal with someone. Hospitality, like Abraham's, can create opportunities for deeper relationships and even unexpected blessings. Become a giver. Listen, a gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. Are you the giver? Are you the giver that the Bible speaks of? Or do people know you for taking? When you show you can't leave a function without, listen, if they don't have a Tupperware for you, you'll ask them, Mare, halina plastic in your spoon. Right? You put the food in a plastic bag if you have to. Just take. They know that when you are here, you gotta leave with something, but you don't leave anything behind. be the giver. Now, we need to get into the part of this. In other words, uncha. Dealing with misinterpretations. Now, of course, when I was first thinking about this principle and I was meditating on this principle, immediately I knew that there's always potential for misinterpretation. There's always potential for someone to misunderstand it, specifically because this is one of those principles which the world understands, and it is to the point where it has been abused, it has been used as manipulation, because all of these principles can be used in a way that is effective. It just depends on who you are. So it can be used by a godly person, it can be used by an evil person, but you hear what I'm saying? Let me read this for you. It's important to address potential concerns about this principle. In a world where corruption and bribery are commonplace, some may misinterpret the idea of giving as a way to manipulate outcomes. However, the biblical perspective is clear. Genuine giving comes from a place of love and honor, not selfish ambition or deceit. Bribery seeks to distort justice. You can look at Exodus 23 verse 8. While godly giving seeks to bless and build. So this is the part that's very important, because if you listen to the first half of this live stream and then you left, you would leave here and try to figure out how can you give to manipulate someone into, right? How can you give something for you to get? Go do your license the normal way. Go do your license the normal way. I'll say that again. Abraham's story reminds us that a pure heart and honorable intentions are what make a gift powerful. The gifts we give should reflect God's character and serve as a channel for his love, not a tool for personal gain. The gift that opened a door of favor. We're in verse 14 now. Since you got your degree, I'm not going to say this again. I'm going to say since I got my degree. Go do it the normal way. You are a risk on the road. You are a risk on the road because you are misusing the power of the gift. A license must not cost more than $500. Anyway. One of the most striking stories in scripture about the power of a gift is found in 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 8 to verse 17, where we meet a remarkable woman from Shunammite. She wasn't just generous, she was discerning. The Bible tells us in 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 8, one day Elisha went to Shunammite. A well-to-do woman was there who urged him to stay for a meal. So whenever he came by, he stopped there to eat. So Elijah always stopped at this woman's house to eat because she said, listen, guys, whenever, stop by any time. I will always be ready to serve you guys, to help you guys out. We're good. You have a home here with me. This woman recognized that Elisha was not just a visitor. He was a man of God. And instead of waiting to be asked, let me say that again. Instead of waiting to be asked, she made room for him in her life, literally. She spoke to her husband and said, honey, let's make a small room on the roof and put in it a bed and a table, a chair and a lamp for him. Then he can stay there whenever he comes to us. That's in 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 10. This was not a small gesture. She came from her substance. She gave from her substance, and she gave intentionally. And what did this gift unlock? Favor. She wasn't even seeking. Here's what happens. Elisha, deeply moved by her kindness, asked what could be done for her. Though she requested nothing, his servant Gehazi pointed out that she had no son and her husband was old. And so Elisha prophesied. Prophesy, man of God. About this time next year, Elisha said, you will hold a son in your arms. 2 Kings chapter 4. That's in verse 16. This woman had not had not sown a gift to receive a child. She simply honored the man of God, but heaven responded with favor beyond what she had asked for. Her generosity made room for a miracle. This is the power of a gift. It doesn't just bless the receiver, it positions the giver for unexpected favor. Will you say amen? May you be met with unexpected favor as you walk with God. May you be met with unexpected favor as you commit yourself to being a giver, to being generous, to cultivating a heart of generosity. May you be met with that kind of favor. Listen. Running over, pressed down, shaken together, more than enough. What you had given up on. This was an incredible woman. Listen, before she even got to the child, you know what Elisha said? Listen, what can we do for you? There has to be something we can do for you. Elisha said, listen, I've got connections with the king. Do you want me to talk to the king for you? I've got connections with the commander of the army. Do you have an ex that I can talk to the commander of the army? They can, listen, just talk to me. What do you need? That's the kind of favor that a generous person attracts, that people would trip over themselves to give to you, that people would listen, they will run from wall to wall just trying to find something that they can do for you. Can I tell you something? Have you ever wanted to get a gift for somebody who was generous to you? Not just somebody that you love, but somebody who has done so much for you. I want you to think about it right now. That if you can think of anybody who has done a lot for you, they've done a lot. Doesn't matter what it looks like, whether they paid for your school or whether they gave you a plate to eat. But I want you to think about that person, and I want you to think about if you had to do something for them right now, what would it be? I bet it's not a quick answer, because man, you really sit down and you really think about it. Ah, man. This one I can't just buy her some slippers, right? This one I can't just buy him a price stand. I need to buy him a farm. He needs a farm. I don't know. Oh Lord, what am I gonna? You hear what I'm saying? And you can't help it. That's what you do. Not because you are trying to pay them back. You're not trying to pay them back. Some of those people are even dare to say you could never pay them back for what they did for you. So the point is not to pay them back, but the point is to position yourself in a place where you show them that, listen, I recognize your generosity. And even better, they have positioned themselves in a place where they just cannot help it. You just cannot help. Listen, man. When their birthday is coming up, you even get a headache because you're thinking about selling a kidney so you can sort them out, right? But that's the kind of favor that generous people attract. That kind of person, if you have that kind of person that you are thinking about right now, if they called you right now, if they called you, you are ending this live stream and you are stepping outside. If they said, listen, meet me, I'm stuck in my car down there by the corner of Nelson Mandela and Thabo Mbeki, where they meet with Ramaphosa. I don't know. I just know the presidents have a street everywhere. but just meet me there. Yeah, I don't have a car right now, but don't worry, I'm gonna make a plan. You just cannot help it. You just can't help it. That is the kind of favor that generous people attract. That is the favor that they attract. We're in verse 15. We're in page 15. We're in page 15. This is the power of a gift. It doesn't just bless the receiver, it positions the giver for unexpected favor. What this woman teaches us is that your gift can speak for you in rooms your voice has never entered. It can open doors that you didn't know existed. When we give with the right heart, out of honor, discernment, and love, we partner with the principles of heaven. And that partnership releases favor in dimensions we didn't even know to pray for. So as we draw to the end of this, here's a challenge for you on page 16. Today, think of one person you can bless with a thoughtful gift. Think of one person you can bless with a thoughtful gift. It could be as simple as offering your time to help them with a task or surprising them with something they needed. Reflect on how your act of generosity can create an opportunity for deeper connection. Just think about someone right now where you are. I want you to intentionally think about someone. It doesn't have to be a lot of people. Maybe it's someone who, maybe you've gotten to the point where you've even just started taking that relationship for granted because they're here, they're not going anywhere, right? Maybe it's a parent, or maybe it's your child, maybe it's a sibling, doesn't matter. Just some of those relationships that we take for granted. Maybe it's an employer, perhaps, right? It doesn't matter. Your mentor, a teacher, a friend. I want you to think about somebody. And if you're going to get serious about this, just think about what you can give. You can write it down to say, I'm going to give myself the week. If you're not going to have time to do it tomorrow, think about how you can do it just over this week. What am I going to give? Is it going to be my time? Is it going to be just a small little thing that I can get? What is it going to be? And here's what I'm saying to you. Why I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to you because many of us here are waiting to one day win the lotto before we can serve, before we can give to the people who have always been there. Many of us are, the day gets so hang. Listen, it's now. Now. If you cannot buy them anything, and I know some of these people are such difficult people, man. You don't know, because you look at them and you're like, he has everything though, she has everything, there's nothing I can do for him. Think about it. Maybe you can do something for their child, right? That has always been my favorite thing to do. Man, you'll see how it lights up a parent when you do something for their child. I have never seen somebody more grateful than a parent who just saw their child receive something from you. Let's throw in some of these ideas at you. I'm just saying that you ought to honor people. And if you're listening to this tonight and you realize that you're a taker more than anything, and maybe you excuse it by saying, no, it's because I'm the unemployed friend. Unemployed friend, relax, stay home. Stop being a taker. Find a way. You hear what I'm saying? Don't use your season, don't use the place that you are in right now as your excuse, as your shield. You've got something. And here's a journaling prompt for you to consider for yourself. And those of you who have the book, you'll see it. But if you don't have the book, you can just write this down. First of all, you can put this question down, and then you can write down whatever comes to mind afterwards. But how have gifts, either given or received, shaped your relationships? How have gifts shaped your relationships? How do you listen? How do you perceive people who give in your life? How do you perceive those people? How do you perceive the people who just come and take? They take. In what way has your giving influenced relationships in your life? Just sit down and just meditate on that, just reflect on that. And then secondly, and this is where we finish, what attitudes or beliefs might you need to adjust to become a more generous giver? What attitudes or beliefs might you need to adjust to become a more generous giver? I'll give you an example. If you are generous, people will take advantage of you. That's one of those things. That's one of those things that will close you off to relationships that could play a key role in your life. I'm always there for people, but no one is ever there for me. So you might want to start working through some of those attitudes, some of those mindsets, right? Just work through some of those. Can start by writing it down if you have to, but begin to uproot it. In this world, you must be selfish if you want to listen. We need to decide where we stand once and for all. You need to hear me out on this. We need to decide where we stand once and for all. There are standards that people in this world live by. There are standards that they live by. And then there are standards that govern the kingdom of God. And these standards, my friend, I want you to understand that when you carry these standards, when you live by these standards, there is nothing in this world, there is no force in this world that can stand on your way. Or maybe one of those mindsets that you need to do away with is this idea that whenever you see someone give to someone, you think there's something malicious in it. Let me put it this way. Do you know that it's okay to give a gift to even your employer? Not for any reason, just to say, listen, there was a time when I was unemployed. There was a time I spent 2 years at home. I used to cry myself to sleep. I knocked on so many different doors. And this was the only place to give me a chance. You gave me an opportunity. It's nothing weird. It's nothing crazy. I just want to say I'm really grateful for this. I'm grateful for this opportunity. Now, of course, there are ways to do that. Like, don't say, can we meet, go koning, so I can give you a gift. Don't do that now and say you got it from me. You didn't get that from me. But I'm talking about a genuine gift that is given from a place of honor. From a place of honor. Right? For some of you, it's a mentor. And for some of you here, it's a mentor. You have been calling this man, you have been calling this woman. Every time you need something, you call them. Every time you cry, you call them. Every time you are confused, you call them. But it hasn't yet crossed your mind to say, guys, you've really stood by me. You've really helped me. I just wanted to bring this to you to say thank you. I just wanted to bring this to you to let you know that I appreciate you. That's it. That is it. And here's what I want you to know, my friend. Giving is not an activity for the wealthy. It's a matter of character. It's not a matter of what you have. It's a matter of character. It's who you are. It is who you are. I'll tell you this as an example. I come from a very generous family. A very generous family. Didn't have much, but a very generous family. I'm talking about if we have 6 eggs left, and I know that this was supposed to be between me and my siblings, but we have friends visiting us, I would even try to give them a wink, like give my mom a wink to say, wait for them to leave. Let's wait for them to leave. Oh no. We're going to find a way to share this with everybody here. We're going to find a way to make sure that everybody gets to share in what we have. Right? I was taught this a long time ago. We give. We give, my friend. Not because we have a lot. Not because we have plenty, it's overflowing. No. Simply because that's just my character. That's who I am. And that kind of character attracts favor with God and favor with people. To God it says, you can trust me with more, and those around me will be blessed. And to people it says, I am not here to take advantage of you. I am here to make your life better. I am here to pour into your life. And so even when they give to you, they know that this is fertile ground to pour into. We can sow into this life. Are you with me? So, I want you to go do that for yourself. As I said to you, make it your goal to say this week, try to find a way to give, to pour into somebody's life. And not to do it as a once-off thing, but to really rewire your mind to think in this way. That no matter where you are, no matter what you think you have or don't have, become a giver. Become a giver. Just to the best of your ability. If you have a talent, share it generously. The opportunities that I've had the privilege of receiving in my life have only come to me because I've always been generous with my gift. Oh man, as God is my witness, I have always been generous with my gift. The talents that I have always been generous with it. I've always been to the best of my ability. From the days when I was walking those streets to go and speak to those teenagers, to the days when I was walking the streets and posting these social media videos. If I can, I'll show up, man. If I can, I will show up. Be generous. A gift is a powerful way of positioning you for favor. Everyone is attracted to a generous person. Everyone is attracted to a giver. Does that make sense to everybody? So go take on that challenge this week. Go and take on that challenge. As a matter of fact, when you buy yourself a copy of Unlocking Favour with God and People, buy one for a friend as well. Buy one for somebody here who may say that they cannot afford to get one. Right? Just find a way to give something. Let that be your character. Let that be the work of your character. It's who you are. I'm not waiting to win the lotto before I can pour into people's lives.